around and listen close, my friends. I've got a tale to tell that never ends. Let's spout out a software that saves our memories. Immich, the savior of our digital sea. No more worries about those evil corporations. Immich here to protect our priceless creations. Say goodbye to Google Photos, wave them farewell. We found a new home where our memories dwell. With Immich, our pictures are safe and sound. No more fear of losing what we found. It's a backup software that's oh so nifty, keeping our memories in harmony so swiftly. So swiftly.
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry we're late. We had a bunch of tech problems, but yeah, we're here now. So yeah, welcome to the stream from Brussels. As you might have seen, we're going to be at FOSDEM tomorrow and Sunday. Tomorrow we'll be doing a talk at what time are we doing the talk? At 3:30 Brussels time. And then we will have a stand on Sunday the entire day. So there'll be a few of us there, and we'll be giving away some goodies that you'll find out about pretty shortly.
True.
Cool. So what do we want to? Do we want to start with the announcement, or do we want to?
Yeah, we're also here with a couple other developers, which is pretty cool. A couple guys from Europe met up with us here and exploring Brussels today. Yeah, should we do the announcement?
Yeah, I think we can do that. You coming around? Change the other scene. So yeah, we've got Daniel here with us.
Hello.
He'll be joining us on the Immich team full time come summertime.
Yep, exactly. Looking forward to it. Pretty nice.
But yeah, for now we've been working on some stuff behind the scenes. So yeah, we have finally created some merch that will be announcing on the store, releasing the store.
The store is now live, so you can go to immich.store and check it out.
Yeah. So
yeah, like the shirts we have on. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
some of the stuff you can buy on the store. We got sweatshirts, t-shirts, sweaters, long sleeve shirts,
Mugs,
water bottles,
bottles.
stickers.
Yeah. A couple of the things will be live a little bit later today, like the water bottles and stickers. We just need to do some last minute changes to those. But all the shirts and everything are live, and you can go get them right now. And we're going to show some of them off. I'll let Jason do that.
Yeah, I mean, so some of the shirts have the logo on the front and the quote on the back. I got 99 problems for privacy ain't one.
Then we also got a similar one, also 99 problems on the back, and a new logo on the front, which is Mitch in the logo. Mitch is our new mascot, which Jess designed, Zach's partner. And I think he looks pretty cute and it's pretty nice. And this is also Mitch in full size. And we can show you
Yeah, you could see the store there. Again, another tech issue. We couldn't talk to you while that was happening, so this is going really well so far.
It was kind of funny. When I first joined Immich, I didn't know how to pronounce it. I think some of you can relate to that. But it's kind of I am Mitch, so I thought it'd be funny if we named our mascot Mitch. So it's an ongoing joke now. So, but the mascot is officially named Mitch, and the little robot who likes to take pictures. Yeah, like we got some stickers. We'll be handing those out at FOSDEM later this weekend.
Did we show the bottle?
Oh,
So we got this this bottle as well, which will have Mitch taking photos, and also Mitch with his the thumb up mascot version. There's 2 different types of bottles. We don't have the other one here right now. There's also a mug. There's magnets that you can get. Yeah, there's this. Did we do this design or not? This is very well planned, but yes, this is a different design of the. So you get this on the back with various logo choices on the front, Mitch or not Mitch. And yeah, we showed the landscape one, didn't we? Sadly, we cannot cosplay Mitch at FOSDEM. We don't have a Mitch suit. But yeah. Ooh, that was loud. Sorry about that. Cool. So I think we'll move on from the merch for now. But yeah, that was as we said, you can go to immich.store or shop.immich.app. And yeah, you can grab yourself some merch there. Hopefully you guys like it. Cool. So do we want to do a little project update next, or do you want to do the other section?
why don't we do a little project
Cool. Do you want to start?
Actually, we're gonna. A lot of the project updates are in the Q&A. We do.
That's true.
Let's meet some of the developers, and then we'll do that after.
Okay, sounds good. Who's first? You go first? All right, so as we said, we got a couple of the, a few of the contributors that help out in their spare time. So we're going to do like a short section with each of those, and if you guys have any questions for them, we can ask them those. So yeah. First, we have Thomas.
Yeah, good evening. Happy to be here.
So yeah, do you want to say a little bit about yourself, how you got into contributing to the project, what you do in your real life, outside your Immich life?
Yeah, of course. Thank you. So I started working with Immich about 2 years ago. I take a lot of photos, like I have like terabytes of them, and it was getting expensive for Google Photos. So I started looking for something self-hosted. And yeah, Immich is really good and I really like it. And so that's sort of what I go with. I got into developing for Immich because it didn't support some features I wanted. Like it didn't support the RAW format of the camera that I use. And so I added support for that, and just the team is really friendly and really open to contributions. And so I just continued contributing and was asked to sort of contribute like as a member. So professionally, like I'm like a systems engineer. I sort of specialize in distributed systems and backend and also some platform stuff. At home, I run like Kubernetes clusters and run Immich, of course. So
Cool.
Yeah, maybe we have some ancillary stuff we deploy with a cloud provider, and Thomas is our inside man. So if we need something done, we just ping this guy, tell him you need to ship it next week. So yeah, our little contact there is kind of fun.
comes in handy.
So yeah, I guess another question, like what would you most like to see added to Immich?
It's something I've been really looking forward to and I really wanted to take the time to do for a while. I really want to see object storage in Immich. Like I think that it would be really great and it would give lots of options for scaling Immich and just having a more reliable like storage backend. So hopefully I can find some time to really push that through.
Yeah, I think that's been a request from a lot of people. It's just a very big change, but I think we are basically going to do it at some point.
I think a lot of the groundwork is there.
It's a rabbit hole we don't need to go down right now, but yeah, one day we'll have object stores. All right, thanks, Thomas.
Of course. Thank you so much.
All right, cool. So as I said, if you guys have any questions for these guys while they're on, you can just post them in the chat. I'm keeping an eye on it. So yeah. So next, we have another contributor called Ben.
Hello. I am really excited to be here at FOSDEM. Can't really believe that.
So, where you from, Ben? How did you discover Immich? Tell us a little about what you're passionate about.
Yeah. So I am a web developer based out of the United States, and I got into an Immich because I have a big library of photos that I was trying to find a way to be able to visualize. So I have some for my family. I have photos I've taken on my camera. I have photos on my mobile phone. So it was kind of a years-long effort to find a way to actually be able to see them in a single feed. And once Immich had support for external libraries, that's when I knew that I could pick it up and start using it. And now I'm excited that all my photos are in a single feed. So my personal excitement when contributing to Immich was I've been using it. It has all the features I need, but as I was working more with it with a keyboard and that kind of thing, I saw opportunities to work with the accessibility and improve it a little bit. So I'm really excited about, especially in the web and mobile apps, finding ways to make it easier to use for visually if you have different visual needs, with a screen reader, with assistive technology, with keyboard. So that's what I'm particularly excited about, and I hope to see Immich keep moving forward with that.
Awesome, thank you. I think accessibility is super important, but I don't know a ton about it, and I'm just focusing on building features. So it's great when you come in and you standardize things, you add accessibility tags that I didn't know existed, and I think the product's better because of it. So thanks for all that.
Thanks, Jason.
All right, and our last developer is Jonathan, the author of External Libraries, a much sought after and highly controversial feature.
Yes, it was. I remember when I started contributing, was to get the libraries working, and I had to do a lot of convincing to make it past Jason and Zach and the rest of the team. So yeah, I'm glad to bring it up. I'm happy, Ben, that you also like this feature. I mean, obviously, I also like photography and I do a lot of pictures. I had a large photo library. Wanted to get that in my timeline in an Immich, and libraries was the way to do it.
So how did you hear of Immich, and what got you interested in the project?
Yeah, so it was 2 years ago. I was looking for good solutions to manage my photos. I had looked at some other solutions before, but suddenly Immich just popped out on my radar. I think it was a GitHub list somewhere, and there was this new project that I didn't know about before, so I tried it out, and I felt immediately this is the way to do it.
Awesome. Yeah, I was trying to think. A lot of our stories are about looking for a photo management system a couple years ago. And actually, I think on Monday, Immich officially turns 3. So it's still a fairly new project. And, you know, a lot of us a couple years ago were looking for solutions. And now we have Immich, which is great.
Yeah. And I work professionally with application security when I'm not working on Immich. So I hope to bring a lot of that to the Immich project to make it more secure, make it easy to deploy securely. Something I'm working on or planning to work on in the future is making it easier for end users to deploy as a non-root deployment in Docker, for instance.
Yeah. If there was one feature you could add to Immich, what would it be?
That's not external libraries.
No, but we use the Chromecast a lot at home, and I hope to get Chromecast support working in Immich. So that's something. It's half done, so the big part of the code is done. So probably we can hope, maybe we can merge that soon. I hope.
That's a great feature. So.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Awesome. Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
a lot. All right. So yeah, I guess should we do Q&As and then we can talk about anything that isn't mentioned in there?
Yeah,
That's probably the best way to do
sounds
it.
good. I think the top voted question was about the roadmap for 2025 and specifically rework of background upload mechanism. What do you want to say about the timeline?
The timeline is the timeline. It's loose. We don't like to commit too hard to things. Oh wow. We don't have to commit too hard to things just due to the way that we work. Like priorities change. We try not to have too much fixation on like delivering those features specifically over delivering things that we want to deliver as the engineers. But basically the roadmap is things we've committed to delivering at some point, and the dates that are in there are like our best guesses.
Yeah, I think we're definitely working towards and making progress on features that will enable us to go stable. Last year, the goal was to have it by the end of the year, but I think like all software engineers, we're overly optimistic, and we didn't get all those things done. And as we worked on some of them, other things came up. So one thing we just finished, which was a big task, was the Kaiserly migration. So we switched out our database technology to build the queries. So we have a lot of performance improvements that have happened recently, and it's enabled us to deliver a lot of features that have been previously blocked. And one of those hopefully will be a much better mobile synchronization implementation. So syncing changes from the server to the mobile app, and that's kind of something we want to do in order to have a better background upload mechanism. A lot of it's highly related, but that just got merged, and so we're hopefully going to make progress on the background upload stuff soon.
Yeah, I think it's something that we're actively working towards at the moment. We have done a lot of the design work around it. It's probably one of the most complicated things we've worked on. It's a huge amount of data to sync efficiently, basically. So,
and like the background upload task itself is probably one of the most important things the app does, and so it's hard to make any changes to it without breaking it, and it touches a bunch of parts of the app. There's the local database, there's the image provider service, and also it needs to synchronize those changes against what's already uploaded, and so there's just a lot of different things that's involved with it, and it's hard to fix one part without like touching everything.
yeah. I think the main issue we have around the background upload at the moment is in iOS. I think for like big amounts of uploads and videos, due to the way it's implemented, we know how to implement it properly. It's just a much more complicated way of doing things and has some restrictions. But yeah, we're definitely working towards that. It's something we want to have for sure. So
yeah, hopefully, towards the beginning of the year, and maybe end of Q1, early Q2, we'll have a bunch of this stuff wrapped up and can have a stable release.
cool. So the next one is, will there be an overhaul of memories? So not just the ones that are from that date, but also for people or trips.
I could talk about that a little bit.
Yep.
right now, when you go to the timeline, we make a request to get pictures taken on that same day in past years. So it's like at that moment when you open the page, it does the database query and returns those results. One of the things that's already done is we've created a table for storing memories where you can have a group of pictures with a title and description. You can mark it as like viewed and a bunch of stuff. So it'll enable us to generate memories in the background and keep track if you want to save them or discard them or share them and a bunch of extra things like that. So that's already done. We just haven't written the job to actually generate the memories and incorporate those new records into the app. And I think that's a step in the right direction to have other types of memories. So we could have another algorithm to pull pictures from a location or a group of closely visited cities or something like that. I personally don't know how you take a month of pictures and decide that like, oh, this was a trip I started, ended, and like how to know which pictures to highlight and which ones not. But there's probably some information about how to do that. But we have some groundwork in place to enable a feature like that.
Yeah, I think one of the things I really wanted was to have like the automatic memories for trips. I think that should be something that's reasonably simple to do.
Presumably, like we have the location data, and if you like live somewhere, you go somewhere, and then you come back. Presumably, that's not too hard to figure out.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. Will we get shared albums across multiple instances in 2025?
Yeah, so I guess I can talk about that.
In 2025.
I don't want to promise 2025. It's probably the thing I want to add the most is Federation. I pretty much speak about it every time we have a stream. But yeah, it's a lot of work. It requires some infrastructure outside of the server itself. And there's some implications there with regards to privacy and that kind of thing, like whether we have external auth and to organize that federation. So there's a lot of pieces to figure out for that and make sure the community's happy with, as well as just a lot of work in general to make it work smoothly. But probably some of the other stuff that we want to do relies on having federation as well. So it's almost certainly coming at some point. But whether it comes in 2025, we'll have to see where it lands in regards to other priorities. Because as much as it is a really cool feature, it depends if we think other things are more worthwhile building that might benefit more people.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's also just quite complicated. So we haven't had a big design discussion yet. So I'm not sure what complexities might impact the timeline for rolling something like that out.
Cool. I think let's go on to the next.
Is it currently possible to share albums with other accounts? Oh, it is currently possible to share albums with other accounts. However, the sharing of tagged persons is excluded. Will there be a feature that allows us to link the same people via several accounts?
Oh, so yeah, person sharing across.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is, again, something that was difficult to do performantly in TypeORM, and it is something we want to do. So I think, again, it's another thing that is unlocked through Kissly.
Like basically from the beginning, Immich is designed to work where like individual people upload their pictures and the facial recognition stuff runs on your own isolated set of data. And like you can use albums as a way to share pictures between people. But yeah, lots of use cases are like a family and like they want one unified set of people that you can view pictures for. And there's a lot of cases for sharing information outside of just the picture itself. You want to share tags, people, other metadata, and stuff we have built into Immich. So, but it's also tricky to be able to verify that, you know, a certain person has access to see people that, you know, is from a picture from another account. So there's some complexity in making sure the access controls are still correctly implemented while being able to have those types of sharing mechanisms built in. But yeah, that's one of the big kind of redesign things we're planning on looking at now that like Kesley's been migrated.
Okay. Next. When will stable version 1 be released? I only want to use you. So, interesting phrasing. But yeah, again, on the roadmap stuff, we aren't making any particular promises. I think on the roadmap it says early 2025. What that means, you can kind of decide. And we've moved it twice already before. So
I think it says that mostly because we wanted it to be in 2024, and naturally we're just going to roll it over to beginning of 2025. So we'll see how it goes. We definitely want to not implement things in a not ideal way. We don't want to make any sacrifices in the quality of the product, but we also want to, you know, follow through with what we promise and say and announce. We're doing our best to manage those two opposing parties.
yeah, I think it's fair to say it is one of our main priorities at the moment is aiming towards stable. We have a list of things that need to be done prior to stable. Some of those things are just quite large. Like one of the things is the mobile sync improvements, the background upload improvements. But though that alone is quite a big task. So yeah, I think everything we're doing is aiming towards that goal. But whether we get there in early 2025, we'll see. I think it's looking unlikely at the moment, but it depends what you define as early 2025.
All right, next question. You want me to read this? Are we getting the permissions overhaul in 2025? Want my family to be able to use this with all features. Good question. It might depend a little bit what you mean with permissions overhaul. There's definitely a lot of the sharing stuff we talked about, and that's one of the things I think we're going to deliver this year. There's different implementations of that. So there's just sharing in general across different accounts, like all your pictures, all your people, all your tags, and that might be a bit easier. There's some other stuff that's a little more complicated. But again, we'll have to start digging into some of the queries and see what it takes to be able to balance the access controls versus the sharing implementation. We've had some discussions about this already, and I think it, you know, shouldn't be too bad. So, you know, it's only end of January. We have 11 months left. This seems like one of the natural things to work on next. Yeah, most likely, but we'll see.
All right.
What are your plans on federated access of albums?
I think we kind of had this one, so we can remember. I think we talked about this one.
Yeah, it's kind of a combination of sharing and federation.
What are the plans for offline use of the Immich app? So I think one of our goals for the new sync implementation is to more easily enable a fully offline app. It kind of works offline at the moment. There are some like edge cases, but it mostly works offline. But yeah, we want to have the app be fully usable offline, and like extended goal of being able to even make changes to things offline, like add like favorite photos and delete them, and then have those changes sync when you come online. Again, this will be enabled by the better sync implementation, but is probably a quite extended goal. So not something we're looking at doing right now, but eventually something that will come from the sync implementation.
Yeah. Right now, when you do an action in the app, it just makes a request to the server to update it, and then that change also like cascades to the database locally on the phone, and that's where you get the status from. The sync implementation is going to impact that a lot. We're going to be able to sync changes from the server to the mobile app, like in the background, and then you'll just have an updated state much more smoothly. You won't have to open a page and it loads. So even if you're offline, you should be able to just open and have the latest changes without, having any sync happens right when you open the app. So that's like one step we're planning on doing. Naturally, this is what we're going to look into is like when you favorite, instead of making the request to the server, you write it to the database, and now you synchronize the other direction. So like in the background, even if you're offline, you could save that, and then in the background, it'll push it to the server. So with synchronizing in the background in both directions, you could have an offline first approach while also, having stuff just be up to date when you open the app. So that's kind of the design we're looking into. And the first part is for better synchronization, and then naturally we might have the natural benefit of a better offline first setup.
Okay. So can we expect the free up space button to be released soon? This is something that we will definitely add, but not until after stable. That's always been what we said. We have a big warning up on the website that says do not use Immich as your only way of storing your photos right now. And that is just because the software is in we've very rapidly released features, and while we're in that phase and not a stable phase, we don't want to make it easier to delete all your photos from your phone and then have an issue with your server, whether that's because of a breaking change or something and you have a problem or people don't have proper backups. Once we go stable, it should be easier to have proper backups, as well as there'll be a lot less breaking changes going on. So yeah.
Maybe I'll just add real quick. In the past, when we've talked about this feature, I think we've said like right before going stable or right after going stable, we're okay with adding something like this. I think other community members have already PR'd this feature, but we're not wanting to even make it possible to, delete photos from your phone while the software is in this stage. But I think like right before or right after stable, we're planning on adding this.
Okay. What were personally your favorite moments, features, achievements in regards to Immich in the past year, 2024? All right, I can go first. We got hired full-time by Futo to work on the project.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I think that will have probably the biggest impact of anything on the project. I think it's had a pretty big impact already on the amount of time we can spend on things. Yeah, I took the easy one.
Yeah, I guess a lot has happened since since the beginning of last year. We heard of Fudo. We flew out and met the team. Some of us got hired full time, which was a dream job. That was awesome. I don't know how you can really pick something better than that. We rolled out the payment stuff, right? So people can support the project. And that was pretty cool to see all the community support Immich financially, which was really cool.
Yeah, it's cool to see how many people are willing to support it when you don't actually have to.
Yeah, exactly. What else have we worked on? We did a bunch of performance stuff. I think the timeline now loads and works even if you have a million of assets, and like even if you have tons of pictures in a small time frame, it like that works significantly better. What else have we done this last year? We have better end-to-end tests.
Yeah, I struggle to remember what we did last week.
We built A tile server?
Yeah, we built a tile service, so we serve the maps ourselves now.
We rolled out the My Image app, so you can share a link and it opens in your own hosted instance.
Yeah.
Started working on a UI library. Yeah, I think getting hired full time, that's probably the highlight for me as well.
All right. Hey, thanks for amazing software. Question about faces. Do you intend to perfect the system? I mean, manually adding and editing of person in a picture, etc. Yeah, I think this is something we have said that we want to do. I think there's an open request for this, and yeah, it's something we want to do. We just haven't got around to doing it. I think
There's a contributor who did a lot of the UI on the web for faces, but he's like a student right now. So I don't know. Maybe gotta tell him to hurry graduate so then he can spend more time building some of that stuff. But he's worked on the people pages, the people pages, the search, the editing and reassigning a face. Like if it mismatched someone, you could reassign it. So there's a couple more things in that category that I think he's even started working on. We just hasn't finished it. We do plan to add a few more things for manually fixing it. I think also we've talked about some of the improvements to the algorithm, like how it starts and goes through the pictures and clusters people. There's a few things we can change there as well.
yeah. I don't have anything else to say on that. So, will there be a face recognition for pets that they are created like humans? Yeah, yeah, we've gone into this rabbit hole a couple times, and we basically there's no good pet recognition model that is free and available to for anyone to use. Like Google has one that they made themselves. A bunch of other places have ones that they've made themselves, but there is not a good model available publicly that we know of. So if we wanted to do this, we would have to build our own model with our own training data, and we don't have that training data. So something we have spoke about for this and more widely is at some point trying to crowdsource this stuff. So we would build some kind of website where you could upload pictures that you're willing to share with us, and tag what type of cat or dog or animal is in the photo. And then from there, we can build our own model that can recognize different pets and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we have someone on the team who can do that kind of thing. But yeah, we just need data for it. We need to build the site to collect the data. And then hopefully you guys would be willing to contribute plenty of cat and dog and other animal photos that you want to be part of that model. We'd need quite a lot of data to make it work well.
Yeah. Maybe just to speak about that a little bit. There's not any big public data set people can use to build something like that. And we have talked about collecting them ourselves, but releasing it as a public data set, anybody could use to build anything. And if some people can build a better model for bitmap recognition, like that would be great. But we have some expertise on the team to do that. Yeah, even for stuff like metadata has all types of edge cases. There's always new phones, new formats and standards nobody follows, and there's just a ton of edge cases. It's kind of hard to figure it all out, but I would love to have a big public data set with all that information. We can run tests from our software as well to make sure it handles the different cases for dates and time zones and all types of stuff.
Cool. So the next one is OCR. I think we want OCR at some point.
Yeah, Mert is here as well. I talked to him a little bit today about this actually. He has like a POC for this, but there's some challenges. He wants to make it work like all the rest of the machine learning models, where you can like pick and choose which one you want to use, and then you can have it run on all your photos. He has a POC that works pretty well, but he wants to make it support a bit more generically like other models and stuff. So it's kind of working on that. Yeah, I think probably this year as well, this will be implemented.
Do we have any plans for a PC app where you could mirror the photos and have them available offline? I don't. So we spoke about having some kind of like PC uploader. I don't know if we would want to have something where it's mirroring all of them to that PC. I don't know if for Immich specifically that adds a whole lot because you have the web UI where you have the search functionality, you have all that kind of stuff. Like you could use a NAS for that kind of thing where you access the photos directly and have Immich organize them into folders with the external with the storage template functions. So I don't know if we'd want to have it like a full mirroring system, but we've definitely spoke about having an app where you would have that running on the PC and there'd be a folder where you can just basically dump photos that would be uploaded or select them from the PC to upload in the background as like a more efficient way rather than using the CLI or the web. So again, I don't think anyone's particularly planning on working on that at the moment, but it is something we've spoken about.
Yeah, it's a interesting use case. Like you have a laptop and you want like remote photos synced from your server. So it's not like a mobile app, but it's also not running the server. It's kind of a niche use case. I think that we have a whole list of things to work on still. So maybe if we run out, we'll do that. Another thing we've talked about a little bit is the tech we use to build the mobile app is Flutter, and it can cross-compile to Android and iOS, but it can also compile to the web. So maybe it's possible to look at releasing a desktop app, but it's just like a wrapped version of it for the web. And depending how many incompatibilities there are, it might be possible to have something like that.
Cool. So one on topic of something we spoke about earlier. So where does Immich prioritize its accessibility currently, and where will it end up by the end of 25? I don't think we know where we'll end up by the end of 2025, but I think, as Jason says, like we don't necessarily have a lot of experience with it, but we do have a contributor who spoke earlier who does and is really interested and invested in that stuff. So, for example, the UI library that Jason was talking about that we've been building, he's interested in adding accessibility to that. So if we had that, then every UI element that we're making would automatically have accessibility as a supported feature in the web. So it would make the accessibility much more standardized, the same as the UI would be, and it would automatically come with all the components. So we wouldn't have to add it to every page.
Yeah, I think that's one of the main kind of focuses of the UI library is to take the web app and replace all of the different types of buttons with like a singular button component. And if you have something like that, it's a lot easier to add accessibility because you add it in one place and then every button in the whole app is accessible. So we're slowly migrating components to it and standardizing it. And I think as part of that progress, we'll be adding accessibility. So hopefully by the end of the year, it's quite a bit better. I don't know much about accessibility on mobile, so I can't speak to that.
Yeah, mobile's a whole like other kettle of fish. So okay, will it ever be possible to have Immich as a local app regular people can install and use? So, as a local app, we don't really have any interest in making Immich work as just a local app. We think there's other apps that do that kind of thing and do a good job of it, and we don't really want to target that space. We want people to be using the server and backing up their photos. That's the main purpose of Immich. So yeah, I don't think it will become as a local app. Eventually, we do want to launch a cloud version of Immich, which we spoke about before, which would let people just install the app and kind of pay a monthly fee like other services and back up their apps without having to have a server themselves. But that's not really what you're asking here. And I think for that question, we don't really have plans to do that.
Yeah, I think there's a couple different aspects of this. There's a lot of platforms you can target with an app. You got Unraid, TrueNAS, HexOS. There's all Synology. There's a lot of NAS systems. There's bare metal. There's Docker, which is our primary target. So I think we've decided pre-stable we're not going to look at packaging it for anything besides Docker, and even post-stable we might not do anything besides Docker. But there are some other people that have done like stuff like that. I know there's a Nix OS package for Immich, and maybe in the future there'll be more official packages, but definitely not something we're prioritizing, especially pre-stable. I don't think a regular person is going to install anything like that anyways. But I know tons of people would use it if they could just download it from the App Store, sign up, pay for it, and be able to back up their pictures. So definitely like a cloud hosted solution is something we've talked about.
Cool. So I think we're at time. So I'm going to really quickly lightning round the questions that are left. Some of them.
Okay.
All right. So there's a feature for hashing the photos locally. Yes, we are planning on doing this. The app already hashes them locally. We just don't use that in the upload process yet. It will come as part of the better sync changes, probably. The better background upload changes. How do you achieve the high development velocity? I don't know.
A lot of great developers. We're on Discord all day. We have some good people planning how to do stuff.
Yeah.
We wrote it in TypeScript. That's the real key.
That is a big part of it.
Everyone
so many
can
people
contribute TypeScript.
Yeah, so many people externally can also help. So we get a lot of PRs. How do you guarantee device backups? This goes off the screen. I've had cases where a device had the backup app hibernated or the user migrate to a new device. Without observability alerts, I have to break news. So currently we don't. We don't have a way for this to be observed from the server, and it is something we've spoken about. We want to add this. It will show up for the admin with a way to add alerts. So for if a certain person, they haven't had a sync in X days, then you'll be able to get alerts for that. Maybe we can have it email the user themselves.
Yeah, this is one of the things we were incorporating into the sync mechanism. On the server, we'll store that, and you can know if it's working or not.
Yeah, we'll know for every device, for every user, when it last synced to the server. When is the likely arrival for chunked uploads? I don't know. It's a very complicated question, and it has some implications for the background uploading that we don't know the answer to yet.
But we are working on background uploads, and we'll know more information about that soon.
Do you have any plans to improve the mobile web interface? It currently doesn't fit well on iPhone, especially using settings. I think a lot of the UI works reasonably well on the web, at least a lot better than it used to. I don't know if we have any particular plans to make it better at the moment, but we do try and make at least the public sharing stuff work well, because that's the most likely stuff to be opened on a mobile by people who don't generally have Immich.
So this is specifically the website viewing on a mobile screen.
Yeah.
So the UI library that I'm working on should look good on a mobile screen. And so everything should be, resizable and all that stuff. So hopefully as the web migrates to it, it'll naturally become more mobile friendly.
Moving photos in the upload folder. I'd love to be able to move away from using Lightroom manual photos. You can currently use external libraries to have photos imported into Immich. Use external libraries. Will there be a way to allow users to edit a shared album? If my friend shared an album with me, would it be possible for him to allow me to edit it even if I don't own the album photo? As in like remove photos? I don't think we want to allow that.
We have user roles on an album, so you can
Yeah.
do user read-only or editable. So there's some permissions on albums on a user level. I don't know.
But it's not exposed right now, right? To the
There's a setting you can change the role. I don't
Okay.
know what exactly is allowed and not allowed, and if we have a role for some of these admin actions. But
right. Maybe even when permissions get improved, yes. Maybe. iOS app is slower than the other two bigger apps, but literally runs slower. I think this is sometimes a part of the current sync mechanism, because when you first open the app, it does like this huge sync operation. So again, this will probably get better once the sync is improved, and if it doesn't, we can reevaluate it then.
yeah, like when you open the albums page, right? I think it queries the server for all albums. And I think it even, if an album has changed, it downloads like all the metadata for every asset in that album. And it's like a nightmare if you have really big albums and stuff. This will all be taken care of with the new sync implementation. There's also a bunch of other things that we know don't work well that will be fixed for the mobile app.
Most outrageous feature request: rewrite it in Rust. Smart albums automatically include photos. So this is covered by workflows on the roadmap, and is again something we want to definitely do. Again, we've talked about it a lot. It is coming at some point, and that will enable a lot more than just smart albums. But yes.
Yeah, so we want to have actions that let you do stuff automatically, and then write rules to do that. So you can have albums be created, and pictures added when it detects somebody or it's taken in a particular location.
Use high resolution for face recognition. This is actually an implementation detail of how most machine learning models work. They actually don't use really high resolution photos, and it's the way they're trained. So you would need completely different models. And generally they don't actually get much better and take a lot longer to train and also run the analysis on afterwards. What do you think is the main focus of this year after the stable release? No idea. Stable release is the focus at the moment, and we have not looked further than that. How's the design of new features discussed for implementation? Is it possible for discussion to provide feedback? If it's a feature that someone externally is planning to contribute, then it will be in the focus discussions probably, or on GitHub in the issue. But if it's something that we are implementing ourselves, then we kind of do that discussion between ourselves. It can kind of get into a too many cooks kind of situation if we have everything be completely public on that. But generally, once we have an idea, and this is actually something we've spoken about recently, is we have quite a few things like in the pipeline that we've planned but aren't working on yet, which other external contributors could potentially work on. So we've chatted about once we have those plans to make them GitHub issues with like fully detailed engineering documents on how we'd want that implemented, basically. So someone else could do the work if they wanted before we get to it.
Yeah, Immich has a lot of features that are done. You know, you can multi-user albums, favorite sharing. Like, it has a ton of stuff. And really, a lot of the only things that are left are kind of complicated. And if someone outside of the core team works on it, it's just hard because we've already had discussions about how we think it should be implemented. And then if someone does it a different way, there's things they haven't considered that we have already talked through. But so it's a little bit tricky specifically right now, just because so many things that are left to do are kind of complicated, have a lot of implications. But yeah, we've talked about having these discussions, documenting how we want it done, and then someone could work on it if we don't have time.
Yeah, I think it kind of came from the fact that we've had a few cases where we have discussed something and then someone's came to build the feature or like just submitted a PR and it's not really what we wanted. So, and we feel really bad about rejecting those kind of PRs because it's a lot of wasted time. But we also don't want to accept something that we're going to have to completely change or, completely change later.
How many PRs do we have open right now? Like 80? Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
The Kesley stuff was like our big focus for like 6 weeks or more, and like a bunch of PRs have built up, and we already have our own list of stuff to do post Keisley. So, all right, is that all the questions? Or are we?
I think we're gonna cut off there. The rest have like only 2 votes. So yeah. Last few things. Again, reminder: we have merch now. Immich.store. We'll make another post on the Discord about it for you guys and people who aren't here. Thanks to the people who've already placed some orders. We really appreciate it. Everything helps to fund the project.
If you're in the area and are going to FOSDEM, we're giving a 15-minute lightning talk tomorrow at 3:30 in the afternoon. And then we'll have a stand Sunday all day. So stop by, grab a t-shirt, some stickers, and hang out and chat.
Yeah, and if you are coming, we're probably going to throw a FOSDEM channel in the Discord. So anyone who is coming can organize meeting up. We can post if we're around tomorrow, anywhere if anyone wants to come hang out. And yeah, I think that's everything. So thanks for coming. Hopefully we answered a bunch of your questions and you found it interesting. And yeah.
All right.
See you guys later.
Have a good rest of your evening.